just to shoot away somewhere. Maybe one day next week we probably
Where'd y'all stay?
stay at the Hyatt right across the street from
Casino in
Nah,
How you doing,
I'm
sir?
all right. I'm trying to hold on.
Shouldn't have to pass through the casino.
Yeah, I'm trying to hold on to my little nipples I got. But I go there to eat though.
He don't wanna be,
I go there to eat.
he don't wanna be on Facebook.
There you go, Steve.
Pastor at casino.
This is just copies of everything that's going on.
Okay.
Man, we used to go, we used to, when the bowling guys first opened, we used to go all the time, and then, you know.
Ma'am, I didn't know if you wanted anything. This is the same stuff that's online, but I didn't know.
No, that's fine, I'll look at it online. Save the trees.
Well, you can give me one, cause my little online
I
thing,
kill a lot of trees every week, every 2 weeks.
I didn't charge my little online thing.
Well, I'll just make copies of it. It's the same thing from the last meeting.
Okay, thank you, dear.
Kyle's got his work boots on.
Hello. What's up, big fella? I like that look. Give me a sports coat and some shorts. I like that.
Business up top. Well, I should get somebody to come look at it. See it better on here. They're not big. I didn't know they were.
The rest of the what's the name there? I have an agenda. Hammond City Council, don't have. I'm looking for, okay, yeah, bring it. Roll call, please.
Councilman Andrews,
Present.
Councilman Dimitario,
Present.
Councilwoman Gonzalez,
Present.
Councilman Leon,
Present.
Councilman Williams.
We stand for our prayer, please. Eternal Father, we thank you on this evening just for who you are, Father God. Thanking you that you touched us this morning with your finger of love and our eyes came open to a brand new day. Father God, we just thank you for allowing your son to die in our place, and for that we give you glory, honor, and praise and thanks. We thank you, Father God, that everything this evening will be done decent, order, pleasing, and in your sight. Therefore, you will continue to get all glory, all honor, and all praise. We ask you continue to bless our city, state, and our country. Continue to protect the men and women that protect us in our city and serve us in our streets. Right now, Father God, we just ask you to continue to rain down on us, shower us, and protect us with your hand. And for that, we give you thanks. In your darling son, Jesus' name, we pray. Amen. All right, for our pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we're down now to our discussion of mobile homes in the city of Hammond.
So in the last time we met about this, we were all given the large map. I brought mine, it's over there if anybody wants to look at it, that has proposed mobile home areas and then RS 11A, which allows mobile home in that zoning. And I think the idea was we were gonna review the map and determine whether they wanted to go outside of these areas and how we were gonna move forward with putting something on paper for the mobile homes.
Okay. Any of the commissioners have anything they'd like to open up with?
I think it's a carryover from my last meeting. I think where we left off, and maybe the administration can help us with this. There was going to be a map developed and issued to each one of the councilmen, councilwoman, and for them to review the map and weigh in on it as to where they felt their desires are within their district as it relates to mobile homes. And the commission were to look at it and weigh in our comments as well. So I think it'd be warranted to open up and hear discussion from the council first, because it's their districts and their decisions, and then whatever comes out of that, we can weigh in as commissioners and administrators and other community people as well.
Thank you. Yeah, I think right now we got three things on the table, really. The proposed areas with the purple areas of expanding, proposed mobile home areas, and the yellow that's already zoned with mobile homes and mobile home parks, which obviously the mobile home parks to me would be grandfathered in. And then you would have to, now Audrey, would this be set up for a couple different ways? Like the proposed area, that's just proposed as in it's not zone form, it's just recommendation off of the master plan. I think they had a little section that was recommending where if you were going to put mobile homes, these were some areas that it would work expanding.
I'm not sure about the master plan.
But-
Those in yellow are those identified
Yes.
as being in a.
I'm talking about the
residential
purple
zone.
ones.
Purple are those where apparently there was historical discussion about allowing mobile homes in those areas, but nothing formal was ever adopted by the council. So that's an area that, in purple, would be an area where a mobile home would not be allowed unless the council
Voted on it,
chose
yeah.
to allow mobile homes in that area.
So would that, I mean, just to clean it up to where I think there's not a, if somebody sees that, I mean, it's proposed areas and like that's an area that could be proposed. People kind of look at that sometimes, I think, as, well, we may welcome them in there because it's identified on the map as proposed areas, purple,
Yeah.
in those areas.
I
So
think
like,
it-
to either say, yes, we want that there, or not, we don't want that there, or what, so where it doesn't even invite, some open arms for that particular areas.
Well, you could certainly ask the, administration to just generate a map that does not include any proposed mobile
Yeah.
home areas. Now, you cannot, if someone wants to make an application, you would tell them this is an area that is not currently zoned for a mobile home, and let them make a decision if they want to ask for a rezoning or ask for an expanded conditional use.
I guess what I'm getting at is, I think Bob Mitchell made a comment like how they treated them when they come in there, if it's a purple area, obviously the person looking for the variance, or, they'll say, what it is in a proposed area. So to me, that allows, that kind of comes off as more welcoming to like a possibility, as opposed to just having hey, you can go fill out whatever application you want, for wherever you want. That mean you're going to get it. You may get it, you may not get it. But to me, that's where I'm getting at with that purple area right
Yeah,
there. I'm just,
certainly, it
yeah.
creates- so, but to be accurate, it was a proposed area that never got traction with the city council to formally adopt it as an allowed use. So that's why the word proposed, I think, has been used.
This is what I'm curious about from the legal perspective. So we have proposed mobile home areas, that's the purple. If we were to move forward with approving them as proposed areas, then they wouldn't have to come and get conditional uses if we drafted it the right way. And can we do that as it is, or do these things have to be rezoned so that they are now all RS 11A?
You could allow an expanded conditional use for those areas for mobile homes under the certain criteria that you historically have done.
But aren't we trying to get away from an expanded conditional use?
Well, yes. I mean, look, if you want to play it right, the play it right would be you rezone all those properties to allow a mobile home. Now, rezoning comes with other things. So you want to be careful not to just broad brush rezone a bunch of properties until you've done a deep dive into what does that mean for this neighborhood.
If there was a way to take the proposed mobile home, so we're not rezoning it, but it is now an approved mobile home area, if that was by the council, and it wouldn't have to be an actual rezoning, it's just now an area. I'm not saying I want to do that, I'm just trying to make sure we can logistically, let's have some meat to this, right? If the purple all becomes approved mobile home areas, then they meet the requirements, they don't have to get expanded conditional uses. It's just allowed in those areas. And if that's allowed, then this council and the planning commission needs to make sure we're good with the areas that are going to become approved mobile home uses. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you could, it would be in the nature of an overlay. Right? Overlay is typically you diminish things, but it would be in the nature of an overlay district, where you'd create districts that would allow that.
Can you give us another way of doing it that we may not, is that the way it should be done?
That's what, so some other jurisdictions just create a whole zoning class for it. They have mobile home as a zoning. And so under your residential classes, mobile home is one of the zoning options.
Some are doing away with mobile home totally, and then
Yes.
some are, so there's other options
Yes,
too, so.
yeah, she was asking me, are there other ways to do it other than the overlay or than rezoning everything? The rezoning, again, you can stipulate within that class whatever you want the parameters to be. And that's what, so you can stipulate the lot width, you can stipulate the setbacks on both the side things and in the front and the back. You can stipulate the materials, you can stipulate the inspections that have to happen. Anything you want to stipulate under that zoning class, you can do that.
So that would be a rezoning, and that would require notice to the owners and go through the process of rezoning.
When the proposed mobile home areas were developed, right, under a different council, a different administration, the intention was to have it as an overlay?
I don't know.
Okay.
I can't answer that.
Does the planning and zoning commissioners have any insight on what, because you guys get these expanding conditional uses, and I understand we're trying to get away from that, right? We're trying to make this a little easier on people with applications, also make it easier on us and y'all to approve or fall back on our documents when you're not approved. Do you have any insight on whether an overlay or a rezone?
Good evening, council.
You know,
I need to say my name for the record or anything, or,
It's being broadcast, so you may want
Colin Douglas, Hammond, Louisiana, Planning and Zoning Commission. So, with our Planning and Zoning Commission and the mobile home, I guess, trials and tribulations of mobile homes, most of the mobile homes come in the same areas, 1, 3, 4. Our last outlier is Digger Grundle Road. That's the main reason we've been having these discussions. So, I would like to say that when we get these recommendations, when we give the recommendations, we go through them thoroughly. So each case is a case-by-case instance. So with most of them being in 1 and 3, some in 4, most of the time Kip and Devon allow mobile homes in the area because it is what it is. That's where they're located. That's what most of them are. District 2, I like how everything is laid out. They have the overlay. We're not having trailers. It's cut and dry. So they don't even come to us about it. So if you if you would ask for the council, what would you like us to do as far as bettering our recommendations, I would have to say, because we know what areas are the mobile homes are coming. What would you want us to do to help you out?
Yeah, I think every district's a little different, and I think, like, for instance, my district, there's some issues of some just, we expanded the city into my district, as in we annexed some areas in there that didn't have any zonings at that point. So therefore, we have subdivision with houses and we have allowed mobile homes. So to me, I don't think that needs to be edited and probably rezoned to where it doesn't allow them, because we're trying, it's in the middle of a neighborhood. We also have in the also known as the Lincoln Park area, we have a newer subdivision that was built in there, and they still have it allowed for mobile homes in that section. So therefore, it's not all the way finished out, so you could technically put mobile homes right next to houses that are built brand new. So to me, that was a poor, planning at that point to not have just gotten that area rezoned where you want to allow mobile homes right in the newer subdivision that they put houses in. So every district's a little different, and I think, if you have a bunch of houses, new houses being built in the area, and the majority of houses, and it's something old that was left, that was just not picked up and changed. I had to redo everything in front of Villa West because it was all, that was just back in the day, it was zoned like that, but it wasn't good planning and positioning for that area in front of that subdivision. So we had to change that, which took a lot of it out that was still left in mind. So yeah, I think, upgrading our standards and building standards throughout the city to, continue raising the bar, I think is always good for everybody, so.
Okay. Now you, come on up.
Sal Nicolosi, 3607 Highway 190, West Hammond, Louisiana. I'm in District 4, and in District 4, we have a few, but we have very few, mobile homes. The area that I lived in and the area that we built in have all multiple living areas, which is like either they're apartment complex, which is like duplexes or townhouses. And I think with City of Hammond, to upgrade our area, we're moving so quickly that with either the Planning Commission, prior to what we have now, I don't think they was qualified to really make the plans for the future. They've never really done anything or planned anything out. And now I hear we got a Planning Commission, a person that's qualified. So I think, for instance, in my district, like I said, we don't really want any. We want single-family houses, and we want either duplexes or townhouses, and that's what I'm in favor of anyway. So I thank y'all for listening to me. Thank you.
So Andre, to be clear, the purple was never etched in stone.
Correct.
Okay. And I think the policy or the procedures in which they're going through right now with these special conditions and things of that nature, are pretty much in certain areas. I know in District 1 don't have them. I know they in certain areas that I know that they don't want them. But the issue that we still run into sometimes with some people that are not able to afford the single homes. So I'm studying out this purple around in certain areas in our district, and some of it butts up right against some that are already there. Again, that'll be another conversation that I would have to have with some other folks inside of their neighborhoods concerning that.
Also, a couple of spots where you have, if I just recall from that planning, the floodway, there's some significant areas there that housing committee report came back as you should preserve that so that it's the floodplain, so not allow additional
Right.
stuff there. So I think that should probably, for your district, be something that you consider, and when you're looking at the yellow and the purple.
Right. Okay.
I got a question. Actually, two.
Go ahead and state your name.
Cedric Dunham's, 106 Magazine Street, Hammond, Louisiana. I was looking at your map. Okay, the ones in the yellow. Okay, say for instance you changed to the purple, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is the yellow going to change its zoning, or is it going to stay the same?
The yellow's already zoned
Zoned,
with mobile
right.
home. Now, the purple, that's a proposed area it's not zoned for mobile homes right now. It's just on a map that is an area they identified as it's a proposed for mobile home use. But not guaranteed, it's just, that's why I don't really like the
Purple.
the purple, just, it's like saying, okay, well, here it is. This is a spot where y'all may want to come, but but it's not guaranteed. We got to still get a variance to put them there. It's like expanding. It's an expanded, that purple is a proposed expanded mobile home use area.
Okay.
But it's not voted on yet. It's just on a map that shows that.
All right. Now, I got something you just said about the stuff in Lincoln Park, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most of them people own their property back there. Been back there for forever. Now, the way you were saying it, like, okay, you got new homes just been built there. Don't you think that should fall on the people that bought the property to feel like, okay, well, we'll build these houses here and hopefully they'll move out sooner or later or something like that? Is that the way you're looking at it?
What I'm looking at is you have a new development coming there, building new houses in the area, and it was zoned, was zoned for mobile homes, so they did a phase or two, and there's still land left in that little area that is zoned for mobile homes. So therefore, somebody coming and investing money, building a nice
Is it in the
subdivision.
back or around the
It's
subdivision?
it's where the subdivision is. It's in the same section of subdivision. So if you develop a subdivision, and then if that land right next to it isn't developed, and you put a bunch of mobile homes next to a bunch of houses in there, usually most new construction houses, you wouldn't want to invest and have a bunch of houses subdivision, then just start sticking mobile homes right next to it. So if you were planning that correctly, you would have probably went ahead and rezoned that section to where it's not allowing mobile homes in that area.
Hey, but don't that come in here for everybody to agree on it, right?
It could, yeah. You got, well, no, actually you don't, because it's already zoned for mobile homes, so you don't need it. It's already approved for mobile
I'm
homes.
talking about the subdivision that was built back there.
Yeah, I mean, that was before my time. It was there, it was approved, and it was built, and it was designed, and it's not finished. I don't think there's more room to put more houses there, and it's the first phase or second phase. You may know a little more about it, Colin, as far as, is there another phase over there, in that little area?
I'm not sure. I haven't heard
Yeah.
anything in years.
Yeah, so, but yeah, I mean, that was kind of, somebody came in there, wanted to invest some money in there to go ahead and put some houses in there, and so they did a, nicer subdivision, and it was zoned for mobile homes when they did it. So what I was referring to, it would have been nice if they would have changed it to protect that subdivision right there in that section to where you want to allow mobile homes in that little section area there.
Okay.
That's how you would normally, develop.
All right, I got you. I just needed
Yeah.
a clarification on
Uh-huh.
I think the only other thing I would add from a planning commission perspective is, if it's a way for us to get away from expanded conditional uses, we would love that. And that's going to take, I think, that's going to take some decisions on a district-by-district basis. You have to look at your district and get with your people in the district and come up with what works for you in your district. I think that's the way to do it from the district upward, and then we have a citywide decision based on about a district. We could look at we've looked at other markets, other municipalities. Some of them don't allow them at all. They have their reasons for it. Some allow them in certain areas where it gets a little questionable when you have an area that says proposed, but it really isn't proposed because it's never been accepted.
That's what I was referring to
So
being.
if the council can look at those purple areas and say, well, yeah, if we had to approve an area today, it probably would be the purple areas. I'm just speaking as an example, and go through the process of making that area an approved area. Now, by making it an approved area, what does that mean? I mean, it's to Andre's point, if you're talking about rezoning, well, you open up a whole lot of things when you come to rezoning. From our perspective, we just feel this be a whole lot easier. I'm just speaking for myself. We have Monica, she's here. She wants to speak, has Colin as well. And it just makes the process a whole lot cleaner than trying to go through. These expanded conditional uses is just like rezoning a piece of property. It takes the exact same amount of time. And legal time, your time, our time, the owner's time, everybody's is expanded. The process is even expanded. It takes a long time to do that.
But then it's not permanent because it's not
And
zoning.
then it's not permanent. So the decision has to be made whether or not we're going to rezone the property or accept the purple and make it green or whatever color it's going to be, and go through the process and get it etched in stone.
And I think every area is a little different, so it depends on where you look at on a map, because some of the areas, particularly in my district, may have needed to be rezoned where it's not mobile homes, and some areas might look at it, and the purple might be where you might want to put more at or whatnot. So it just depends where you look at the map. The purple is good or bad, or the yellow is in the wrong spot. Some districts hardly have any in it, and then obviously others have more. So
I think this was an opportunity. We try to, present an opportunity for each district to really weigh in on their district and make the change. If everything's fine, we'll leave it the way it is. But if it's not, this is an opportunity to weigh in, look at the map, call your town hall meetings, get with your people, and make a decision. We have public input and go through the process. We're willing to walk with you lockstep to go through the process, but it has to be a better way than what we're doing right now.
Do you have a thought, do you have a thought on whether you would like to see it, the purple area, whether it's this one or whatever is developed, is approved? So like it's an overlay? Or do we rezone all those purple areas to make them fit into a zoning classification?
I think an overlay would be a better approach.
Okay.
I like what's in District 2. It's an overlay.
Yeah, but this is a different type of overlay. So this would be an overlay to allow a use that's not there.
And that's what overlays are for. You use overlays for whatever mechanism, wherever you're trying to go, you use that mechanism to get you there. That's what the overlay is for. It overlays what's there. And that's what it's for. And so you look at your district and say, you know what, I don't mind putting an overlay in this area to allow or not allow.
And I think that's how it runs with certain sections that run off in the Grays Quarter area, because it runs right up into the Howard district with that overlay.
Yeah.
Why we don't, that's why none were never put over in those areas.
I mean, even look at over there at Steve's district over there, I mean, the yellow up top over there, I mean, that's all I mean, most of those are all houses in that little area right there, and that's all zoned for mobile homes in
That's
a
all-
yellow area up top.
That's all
Southeastern, most of it's southeastern.
Yeah, what,
Some other-
north,
some other
well, exactly.
property,
But I mean, it
yeah,
shouldn't be, it shouldn't allow
shouldn't be
mobile
there.
homes on there, it should be not there,
That
that's
should've-
what I'm
that
getting
should've
at.
went away many years ago. It just, there was never a question about it, and it just got left.
And-
But when we do this, that is an area that I'd like to just go ahead and overlay and get rid of it, because there'll never be mobile homes there.
And that's what I was referring to in my district, I have some of those areas just like that too. Nobody would have thought a mobile home would be allowed over there in that area, but it's never been picked up and corrected over the years, so.
Another thing that I've heard come before the commission several times has been the additional variances that go with the expanded conditional use. So we often do the front door facing the street. We have to make a variance about that because the lot width is not wide enough to allow for the mobile home that's coming. The other thing that can be impacted is the side setbacks. So maybe either in the definition of where mobile homes are coming or in the overlay, we prescribe out a minimum width of the lot, or saying, only one variance could occur with it, or, some of those things are other tools to think about in terms of the zoning for mobile homes.
Well, I think probably too, when planning and zoning looks at that, they can probably look at some of the other restrictions for mobile homes. It probably hadn't been reviewed in a long time, Ron, and, they've come a long way. So there's a lot more options, a lot more choices now, and your group could probably look at that and say, well, if this area is allowed for mobile homes, then these are the things that we want to see, and list those things out, at least to get some continuity.
I was on the planning commission years ago. I had an incident with them, and for the planning commission, when they brought this paperwork to the city council people, and yet the planning commission at that particular time, they wasn't even qualified, and I had certain rules and regulations that the city had gave me permission to use. I had to abide by those rules. And it's the same thing right now. A lot of times the planning commission, maybe on paperwork and stuff like that, you see stuff being done. But until you go out into the areas and redo the research in the areas and see the houses that people are building, or whether they're building duplexes or townhouses or whatever. But if we're going to upgrade Hammond, Louisiana, which in the next 20 years, y'all going to be looking at a big an explosion, they got so many things that the planning commission might approve of, but then when it comes to the council, then the council has got to make the decision whether they should approve it or not. This is what I understand. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Is the plan, right?
They make a recommendation.
I'm sorry?
They make a recommendation.
Okay. The recommendations that people have made previously has not been the right recommendations that I could tell, okay? I'm looking at people making recommendations that have not lived in the area, have not been in the area for
Mr.
years.
Chow, our current planning commissioners, they all live in the area, and it's totally different from the planning commission makeup that was several years ago. We have 3 of the members here tonight, so they live in the area.
I'm well aware of that now, Ms. Lacy. But I'm still, to me, even though the planning commission approves a certain thing or recommend it, and then the final say-so comes with the council, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I think we're not in favor of having any more motorhomes in the area, from what I'm aware of. Everybody I've talked to, and y'all know I move around a lot. I see a lot of people, and they all tell me the same thing. You could build a house now, a mobile home, some of them are $120,000, and a lot of people say, well, they can't afford it. Well, they can't afford a mobile home for $100,000, $120,000, you know? It's not cheap anymore. So, to me, the planning commission got to get the information, get it to the council, and then the council will be the one to make the decision. That's what I see. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Elisa Dangerfield. I live at 113 Moran Street, Hammond, Louisiana, 70401. I've been living there for 31 years. And I see on the map that my street not even on a Faith Street, which is the city of Hammond, abandoned the street. Faith Street, it's been abandoned. But I live on Moran Street. And they don't have no blue, purple, or yellow saying that I can put a trailer there on my property.
So what is your question? Are you asking for if you can put a mobile home on your property or not?
What happened was I had to pay an attorney to try to get it. They had denied it. So I had to go get an attorney, pay an attorney to send it to the city of Hammond attorney in order for them to take and try to get it rezoned so I can get a trailer on my property. So, but the map y'all have is showing that I can't get a trailer in that.
Nothing, it don't even have a color.
It don't have a color. They got a trailer behind me, a trailer in front of me, 2 trailers down the street. But that's what I'm trying to figure out now. And they had a.
The reason why I didn't have a color is right here, we're always showing the color is the yellow is just what's already zoned to allowing mobile homes, and then the purple is the proposed areas, expanded proposed areas, and the blue one are mobile homes, parks. So that's that. So if you don't have any color on it, that means it's not zoned for mobile homes at all. They don't allow mobile homes in that zone.
I don't see why not. They got a mobile home behind me. It's been behind me 40 plus years. They got a mobile home across the street for me. They got a mobile home down the street for me. They had another mobile home on the other side of the street for me. They got mobile homes there that been there for several years, over 50 plus years, and they not even up to date. They less than the 10 years required, but they've been there though. Mm-hmm. And I want to get a mobile home on my property for my daughter. Those are my plans. She work a job, she work minimum wage. She cannot afford. I have property already that's paid for. I don't think it's fair for me to take and go buy property out the city limits, which I can't afford, for her to have somewhere for her and her 5 kids to live. So I have enough property there to put a mobile home will exist on my property.
Yeah.
And I don't see on their map why they have no mobile homes. They have mobile homes, wait a minute, 1, 2, 3, they got about 5 mobile homes.
That's the problem with.
Are they real old? Are they real old mobile homes, like 40 years plus or so?
Then they got one. It might be something like that.
Because what probably happened was they probably were there. They put them there before we had the codes developed and zoned these areas in the city and actually had building codes and formed areas were allowed. And
they
so
still
were already
back
there.
then. They still had like codes and stuff back then. They did.
Well, I mean,
but the trailer. What I'm saying though, they has nothing on Faith. Faith not even the street no more. As you like to say, the city of Hammond abandoned that. I live on Moran Street. Faith Street ran between in my driveway from Moran Street to Magazine Street. That was a street there, which you guys, with the city of Hammond, abandoned that street. Because I've been living on property for 31 years. And I'm trying to see now why I can't get a mobile home. I want to get a mobile home to take and put on my existing property. And there's enough, space and everything for it,
Okay, well, I mean, I guess you should take it district by district base,
Everybody can't afford no home. Yeah. Well, I know I'm not, I can't afford for my daughter, and I got property there, and I can get a trailer in there where she can put it on my property, and versus me trying to go and think I want to purchase some property out the city limits for her to take and put a trailer on there. That's not fair, I have the property there, I have the space there, and it's paid for. I pay taxes there, been paying taxes on that property for the last 31 years. So I don't think no one in my area where I'm living at, since I've been there in this area, I've been there for the last 59 years, I've been living in District 1. the last 59 years, there has been trailers in and out, in and out. And they got a trailer that was moved there maybe about a year ago, and guess what? It's over 10 years old, about 20 years old. How did that get on MC Moore? How did that trailer get, you know?
Must have got a variance or something, I don't know.
Come on now.
Wha-
But all I want to
Yeah.
do, I want to get a trailer on my property at 113 Moran Street. That's all I'm trying to do. If y'all got to take and get it rezoned, or however y'all do it, that's what I want to do. And I don't think no one in my area where I live at will have a problem with me putting a newer trailer like a 2020 to 23 trailer on my property. No one there will have a problem with that. Nobody in the area will have a problem with that, you know. And I don't think it's fair for me to go out and buy property out city limit, and I got property paid for already. With the economy and stuff, you know, people can't afford it. I know I can't afford it. To purchase no more property, you know, for my daughter has somewhere to stay, her and her 5 kids. So I don't know if how y'all do your rezoning, y'all gonna rezone the area, and they got like a flood with that area, where I want the trailer, it has never flooded in that field, never. Now, on the front of Martin Luther King have, and then like in the front of Moran Street, you know, because water never have gotten in my house. I've been there 31 years. So I don't know how they made that a floodway, and there never been flood water inside my home.
That's the federal government for you. It's all.
That's what I'm trying to figure out now.
It may not be in there for long. We've got the flood maps being looked at as a city.
Because I've been
so-
never got flooded out. I don't know if it's the elevation, might be the elevation of the land, whatever, but I have never ever got flooded out. So I didn't understand how they even made that a floodway.
There's probably some errors in the maps. They, did them back then, and they shoot them off elevation. So if they shot the wrong
And
elevation,
they started bringing trailers in. They done bought 3 trailers in on Harvest Street, and they got a canal right there, which it floods. Because I done walked in the water, above my waist. They done bought 3, wait a minute, 1, 2, 3. They done bought 3 trailers on Harvest Street within the last couple of years. Then they had 1 trailer, then they had got, I guess, an extension, whatever they call it. They bought another trailer, then they bought another trailer, and they right by a canal, and they gave me the runaround. They gave me the runaround about me getting a trailer, and they started bringing trailers, in the district and stuff, right around me in the same area and stuff. I didn't understand that either. How they do favoritism for some people, it's like who you know. How they give them permits and stuff to get trailers in and stuff, and you live not even 2 blocks, and you want a trailer, and guess what? You can't get one. They knock you down and stuff. That's not fair. So it's all a favoritism thing. It's all who you know. If I don't know the right people, guess what? That's why I had to get a lawyer. I shouldn't have to get no lawyer, pay for no lawyer. I shouldn't have did that. I shouldn't have to do that. Pay for a lawyer to get a trailer for my daughter on her property. Come on now, on my property. That wasn't fair. That's crazy. It ain't about, the zoning. It's all about who you know. It's called favoritism. For real. So I guess I don't know the right people. Everybody know me. I guess I don't know the right people. I ain't in with them, however, whatever they call, But that ain't fair. I had to actually come out my money, out my pocket, and pay for a lawyer. And then the city of Hammond, what's your name, excuse me? Yes, I had Hogan and Hogan, I paid him. He had to send a letter back to Hogan and said for me to get it, for they supposed to rezone it or something like that. But I got so disgusted and stuff, I just said, hell away with it, But my daughter, she needs somewhere for her and her kids to stay. And I can't afford to buy no property outside of no city limits. And I got property paid for and stuff, and nobody won't have no problem with me putting no trailer on my property. Nobody. Within the last couple of years?
That was about, I would say probably about 2 years ago.
Within the last couple of years,
Yeah.
yes. Ramon? Yeah, they knocked it down, and the guy, Bobby Mitchell, called us and told us, that was last April, he called us and told us about they was having a meeting and stuff, and had us to come up there to the zoning board and stuff, for her to do the application stuff, because I think it was getting late, it was almost time for them to take and rezone, so when we get it back up there and stuff, you know, to do, he the one told us what we had to do and stuff, so she paid $125, and, he told us to do that, all that and stuff.
If I'm not
Come to find
mistaken,
out-
Colin, that was roughly about 2 years ago, yeah,
Because I know all the 3 Harvard cases came like back to back to back.
right.
I think it's 2 sisters involved.
I don't know who it was, but I don't think I know
I just
that.
don't recall your case.
I don't think you wasn't even in office, I don't believe you. I think, what that woman name was Sandy, I don't know what, you wasn't even in, I don't think you was there then, baby. Because I remember seeing your face, you wasn't even in the picture. So you wasn't there, but, yeah, you wasn't in the picture. So I discussed it and I just left it alone, but, you know, I gotta put my feet down now. You know, I want to get my daughter a trailer on my property. And I think no one in our neighborhood where I stay at will have a problem with me putting a trailer there. No one in my district. So I don't know about the other district. I'm just speaking for my district, you know. So I don't know what y'all gonna do, if y'all gonna rezone it or Ms. Lacy. So what are y'all gonna do? Try to get it rezoned? Tell me what I have to do. You know, what y'all gonna do as far as the rezone?
This is what we're discussing now. Well, like, I can't speak for anybody else. I know the areas in which have them in there. We're gonna keep what we got going. We're gonna clarify that, clean that up to make sure that in that area where you are, they'll be able to put those in.
Yeah, I'm a trailer, you know. They
So
should-
that's where we are right now.
Yeah.
So once we have a collective thing, what everybody want to do in their area, we'll make a presentation and they'll bring it.
But why?
I can't speak.
My street, no, they don't even have Moran on the map.
It's just not blown up enough. It's on.
It's on there.
It's on
Yeah, I can
city
see-
map.
yeah.
See it?
Yeah, it's on there.
So that map
Right.
doesn't show where there are current mobile homes. It only shows where they're allowed or they were proposed to be allowed. So they have mobile homes all over the city that are not in those colored areas. They were pre-existing when those zonings happens. They're pre-existing from when that proposed mobile home areas were proposed. But that's part of the problem is, so whenever we have someone who comes to us and it's not in an area that's allowed, they look and they say, okay, there's other ones around everywhere. And so is it a good fit? Yes, so Kip's got some areas in his district that, like perhaps your area,
You got
that
trailers that- they got
they're
trailers
everywhere,
everywhere. They
and it's not,
everywhere.
and it's not on
Everywhere.
there. So perhaps that should be a change to the map. I'm not gonna speak because that's Kip's district. But there, you know, that's part of the process of trying to figure out how we do it the right way. Because right now, it's just kind of, everybody's throwing what they can, and they're asking them, and it's like exceptions and hardships, and we're trying to make it more clear-cut for the people who come in and ask for it, and the commissioners and the council who have to approve it.
And basically what she's saying, Lisa, if it was.
I understand what she's saying,
No,
but-
no, what I'm saying, if it was done correctly the first time, you wouldn't have had to go through all what and you wouldn't even be here tonight.
No, I didn't know y'all was having somebody call me
No,
on the
no.
phone. That's why I came here.
Right.
I didn't know it either. Said I didn't know it either until the last meeting.
I didn't know somebody called me
Okay,
on the
it
phone.
was sent out by email
I didn't
weeks
get a
ago.
response, so, but that's fine. So you don't feel left out, that's what I'm getting
Well,
at.
I'm not worried about getting left out. I'm just trying to get the business clear as far as me trying to get somewhere for my daughter to live, you know. I don't care what's going on in District 5, 6, or whatever. I'm just talking about, worried about what they don't want. I'm just saying what I want. And I think, I should be able to I pay taxes. I think I should be able to put what I want on my property. I know there's, that y'all have different codes and stuff and different zoning and stuff, But for me to come and say, hey, I want a trailer on my property. I've been there 31 years paying tax and stuff. Hey, they gave me the runaround. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm really mad about that.
Right.
How they gave me, I had to pay a lawyer.
And
Hey,
that's what I'm
hell on
saying. If everything would have been the way it should be done, you wouldn't have had to go through that loop that you went through. And that's what we're trying to
No,
resolve now.
I just didn't know the right people. I got tricked up. Really, I did. But I'm not worried about that. But you're gonna take care of it, right, Kip?
Yeah, Lisa.
Okay, it's long, it's on the record. You're gonna try to get that taken care of. I'm all right with you.
You can have a seat. You're gonna be all right.
Okay, y'all have a blessed day.
Andre, if we're doing the maps are updated with each person saying what areas the purple should spread to, right? And become a approved overlay, which sounds like that might be the best way. Does this have to be citywide? I would say it'd be great to do district by district, but the district lines change because of redistricting. So it's not like we can say, District 4 approved, mobile home approved areas. We can't really do that.
Unless there's a reason to distinguish by condition one district from the other, they should apply across the city as an overlay. I'd also caution against one street's in, one street's out, one street's in, one street out. It really needs to be some, some block of area, not just one street's in and one street's out.
I think that we need to make sure that our requirements, like we were saying, are updated. Because there's some mobile homes in the city that look wonderful. They have landscaping, they have full skirting, they have, the garages aren't too large, and according to our rules, there's a lot of rules here. I know lots of other council members are concerned about the consistent code enforcement that we have to do. Let's make it where we know what the rules are. There's no exceptions to the rules, and this is what you get. If you want a mobile home in this area that we will allow, you got to follow these things. It's got to be this age of mobile home. You have to have the certain vented skirting, it looks like, but these look rather old. One of the, its sites conform to 1994 HUD minimum standards. Has that been updated? Should we cite a better HUD minimum standards date? I'd like to, and be no older than 10 years old. That sounds like a good idea, but are the HUD minimum standards, have they been updated? While we're doing this revision, we should probably make sure that the best possible mobile homes are used.
Well,
It's just my thought.
I think district by district, each councilman probably knows their district pretty good, and so therefore some areas they may have some changes that need to be made, and some areas may not need any. Like you said, with the building codes on some of these, I mean, you could always add some, make sure the driveway's all concreted in, make sure all the skirting is done, make sure it might be on a cement pad to where it prevents, subflooring rot and different things, to where the mobile homes actually built better and last longer in certain areas that y'all that may feel fit to keep the mobile homes allowed in those areas. But I think in my district, I think there's just some possible map revisions that need to be made to go with more of the trending development in the area. So.
Thank you. We haven't, I say we, I'm talking about the city, the people of the city of Hammond. Our code enforcement has not been apparently doing their job. You call it code enforcement, Ms. Gonzalez, and I really appreciate that, because we have an issue with code enforcement. I've had a project that I've been working on, and it's in an area that is supposedly commercial, and then right next door to it, it's residential. And for the last 4 years, I've been battling this little code enforcement. I'm bringing it to the council right now. I think the council should start holding the city employees accountable for themselves, and then the code enforcement, they need to check on these people. Anytime you call, just like this lady here saying that, in her area, she had to hire an attorney. Well, I went through the same problem years ago, and I never did come out with anything any better than what I knew I had to do from the beginning. But in particular, the code enforcement is supposed to do their job, and I think the city of Hammond has been negligent on doing their code enforcement. Anytime you got to call an individual 4, 5, 6 times within 3, 4, 5 years, what good does it do to have that code enforcement? You think it's going to do any good? So I'm expressing it for the people of Hammond. Our code enforcement needs to do their job. And what I mean by that, I think Ms. Lacy knows what I'm talking about because I've already confronted her with this years ago. She actually helped me a couple times. She did. Because they came into the area, they did things, they had music playing, they had charging fees, they had no permits for nothing. But yet, the city of Hammond and the police department came out there later. I think Ms. Lacy called, and they finally came out there and shut it down. But you know, the code enforcement, it's a joke. When I say it's a joke, it's a joke. You can pass it on back and forth, just like she said. It'll go from one hand to the other hand, and what happens? I hate to say it, but it's a shame to these people to be paid. I followed 2 city people for hours just to see what was happening. And one of them in particular had riders that did not belong in that vehicle. If you're an employee of the city of Hammond, you're not supposed to be picking up people and bringing them from one place to the other.
You're correct. And next time you see that, please call me. You have my phone number. Like, I can't do anything about that when it's being reported several months later.
And I totally agree, Ms. Lacy.
So
and from now on, I would call you.
Absolutely.
I definitely will. But that's not solving my problem. Or it's not solving the problem for the people of Hammond.
I understand, but it's difficult to hold people accountable if we don't see the same thing that you're seeing. And just like you called me before and we worked on those problems together, I am happy to work with problems with you again.
But guess what?
We're going to get them fixed. And we do hold people accountable. But if I don't know that that's happening, I can't hold that accountable.
You and the mayor are representing the city of Hammond. Okay? So your responsibility is to the mayor. Right? So I've also previously in the past called the mayor. And I also called you. And yes, you did help on 1 or 2 little things. When I say little, they weren't little, they were major because people came into the neighborhood, decided to take over what they wanted to do. Didn't matter. But yet, when I had to have something done to the city of Hammond, I had to go there. I had to go before the planning commission. Then I had to bring it to the council. And then I had to have everything ABC, right on down the line. So now we're seeing with variances and all this, that's a lot of mistakes being made. And they're getting rid of the good people in Hammond that was working for the city, unfortunately. The people that was working for the city of Hammond have gone in the last probably 2 years. And they have not been replaced with people that are qualified from what I'm aware of, okay? So the code enforcement, I'm back to the code enforcement, and that's what I'm talking about. These people got to be accountable. They cannot do what they've been doing for the last 4, 5, 8 years. Thank you.
Let me ask this question relative to the trailers, mobile homes. We have approved areas right now, and we have unapproved areas. And then we have this process that we use for the unapproved areas to allow them. Is that correct? Yeah. The purple really doesn't.
Needs to go away.
It needs to go away. I'm being honest. He's got to be in or out.
Yep.
I agree.
And so this gray area has caused a gray area in the whole
That's
process.
where the problem is right there.
That's where the problem is.
That's why it doesn't need to be on the map. Like, it either needs to be on the map in yellow or it needs to be on the map nothing.
And I think
One or other.
we need to at least start there. And we will, along with the other commissioners, along with Lacey and the staff, look at the regulations that we have currently. I think we've pretty much got the latest and greatest, but we'll go back and visit, make sure we got the latest and greatest as far as with the skirting, and then we'll look at some other architectural features as well to make sure. And I agree, some of the mobile homes, that are being manufactured today are much better than they were years ago. However, a decision has to be made with this purple area. This purple area is causing a lot of problems. And I think we need to structure a process where we do away with this purple area. And it's either in or out.
That just simply takes a resolution to
And
remove
for
it.
the ones that's in, we'll have
Yeah.
regulatory standards. Make sure they update it and make sure our commission and ordinances are updated to reflect that. This is an area that's always a problem. Every municipality struggle with this. Some take it to the extreme and say no, others try to find a happy medium. However, in the process of the growth of Hammond, and the proper planning for Hammond, we have to be careful, because as everyone who owns their properties, they have a right to invest in their properties and do what they want to do with their properties. And likewise, we, the city of Hammond, the individuals who's running the city, as well as code enforcement, things of that nature, we have to make sure that we're planning properly for the future of Hammond. The way Hammond looks today, it's not going to look that way 20 years from now. And we have to make sure that the infrastructure is correct, that we're doing the right thing and doing it the right way. We're not trying to stop anybody from doing anything other than rules are made to make things better. If you look at areas where the heaviest restricted areas of a city, the property values are the highest. The heaviest restrictions in Hammond is downtown Hammond. The highest property value is downtown Hammond. So we're not trying to impose a lot of restrictions, but what we are trying to do is looking at the city as a whole and make sure that as the north, south, east, and west of the city of Hammond moves forward, we move forward the right way. You know, we don't expect to have subdivisions sitting on the runway at the airport. However, we expect that runway to be properly built for airplanes to take off and land. And so we have to do that, and even in Kip's area and everyone's area, we have to make sure that we put the proper tools in place to make sure that we are fair and make sure it's right for the growth of Hammond. And you know, as we get a city planner to help us with this, but in the meantime, I think we can carve this out to work through it. And I'll be more than happy to do whatever I can do to try to.
Also, while we're cleaning this up, is there a need to have the blue? I mean,
There's some that are grandfathered in.
Those just
They've
identified.
already been licensed.
It's blue to park, Andre. It's blue to parks.
Yes, it looks like the blues are approved licensed mobile home parks.
You
That's
can't
where
change
they
it
can
after
move
it's
in.
been like that.
And the only thing that would change there is the regulations that are now. We're going to update those regulations to current standards.
So they do have to comply with that.
They have to comply. And you know, and once again, we'll do our very best through the administration, whatever we come up with out to these mobile home dealers. You know, that's the problem. They'll drag a mobile home somewhere and say, well, you figure it out. And then we have problems. We have to make sure we do the best we can to prevent that.
So as we move forward, I think everybody's in agreement that, the purple is going and it's either in or out. How do you want to proceed in getting this solidified?
Well, I mean, it's left up to the administration. We're here to support the administration.
Well, it's really for, I guess, the
Council.
council to identify in your districts,
Yeah.
if there are areas that are not currently zoned for a mobile home, where you might think it's appropriate to have mobile homes, identify those. And we would include that in some type of overlay district. We would have some sort of citywide zoning, however we call it. We'll figure out that.
Yeah, we can figure it
The
out.
most important thing is to identify those areas that you think are not currently zoned for a mobile home, but that maybe should be, or looked at harder to get, your constituent feedback on, should these areas have mobile homes there? That's where you start.
And by the same token, if there's an area that might have just been put there many years ago, that needs to be taken out.
Conversely, if there's an area you believe is not appropriate for mobile homes, then we'll have to sort out the process for that.
And during this process, and Lacey, and you're really good at this, and we need to do a deep dive and research for whatever type of assistance we can get from governmental assistance, I would say, for people who really, truly trying to get a home. I know that's a tough thing to do, but I'm telling you, there's a lot of new things, new revelations that come about as it relates to first-time home buyers, credit, and all that kind of stuff. It's a lot of things going on, and it's not as hard as some people think it is. It really isn't. And you can get I'm not talking about no $1,500, $2,000 down payment. I'm talking about $10,000 to $15,000.
There's a lot of programs out there to
There's
get
a
houses
lot-
in
there's
there.
a lot
and
of
it's
programs.
sometimes easier to get a house than it is a mobile home. So, I
Exactly.
mean, it's just, you got to be educated. The people have to be educated on programs out there and options, and that's what they need. So, I mean, the rates are going to be lower, the note's going to be no lower. So, I mean, there's a lot more options out there they have nowadays than they did back then too. So,
Right.
it's just, as people are routinely used to doing things a certain way, then, you know, they're used to getting mobile home. They've been told that it's easier. It's been told it's easier. Well, they don't even look and explore the option of the house and different options they may have to get one. So,
Well, if we can explore that, I mean, I know there's more tasks and more hours for people to do, but as Andre said, the spirit of Hammond, we want to try to do all we can to help everyone we can as we move forward in the city. Thank you.
Andre, I had a question about areas that are zoned RS11A. There's, in my district, I see something I want to address. Do we get with you to get that zoning changed? I know that Steve was talking about that one spot, that big yellow spot on his.
It's got to be
But
planning
those
and
will be
zoning.
kind of case by case, right? It's not, we're not going to fix all the RS11s in the whole city. Like,
No.
if I want to approach it from District 2, that I can do that, right? Like, that's what Sam did with his by
Yeah.
Villa West. We're just going to
same
do
thing.
it.
Yes.
Okay.
You're only talking about changing what that zoning classification allows. Then,
Well, I'm talking about particular pieces of property that are
She's talk-
zoned RS11A.
and you want to change that zoning?
Yes.
That would have to go to planning and zoning. Owners would have to be notified and then get their input. And then it's possible to change somebody's zoning. It happens.
We introduced it to here.
Right.
Then we introduced it to the planning, and we
No,
sent
no,
them.
that's a rezoning. That's going to start.
That's what she's talking
That's what
about
I'm
as
talking
far as
about.
taking the yellow, like we did in front of Villa West.
But he has some too, I have some too.
Yeah.
There might be some in there. We're not going to do that citywide. We can just address it. Yes.
Again, I would caution against a rezoning, we call it the jack-o'-lantern effect. You know, if you're going to rezone this, should you rezone the properties in that area down that street?
Yeah, well, these are the teeth of a jack-o'-lantern that need to come out because,
Well,
yeah.
and
That's
and that would
what-
clean it up.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to suggest, is if you want to get the areas to us, we're happy to create the maps to show all the zoning in the area. That's the same packet that goes to planning and zoning that they make their recommendations from, and that then comes to the city council.
Okay.
And those could all be rezoned in one ordinance, just so long as each property owner has received notice.
Okay.
And the adjacent property owners.
Yes, and it has
And the
to go
signs
through- yes.
posted, and the letters all mailed, and the advertisement in the
Yes.
official journal, and all the process that we do.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, when y'all rezone it, what do it go change, what would y'all change it to?
It depends on what's around it.
Oh, so,
You try and keep the neighborhood cohesive if it's
okay,
commercial
so
neighborhood.
you saying, okay, if you got mobile homes allowed, but then they got commercial buildings next door, so they get a free zoning as commercial?
Oh,
Just a question.
But what I'm talking about specifically is not, so no, I mean, I don't think that makes sense. Because right now, it's zoned residential.
No, I
right?
understand. I'm
And
just
so-
saying, well, y'all saying, okay, well, maybe we can change the zoning on these here, check everything in the neighborhood, but what I'm saying, what if everything in the neighborhood is commercial?
I don't know the answer to that. What I'm talking about is a residential neighborhood, so it's gonna go back residential, it's just gonna take out the ability to put mobile home in.
Okay. All right.
Any other questions? Gotta get a motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourn.
Meeting-
Second.
Meeting adjourned.